And just 1 hour back in New York, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is awarded with the Global Goalkeepers Award at the Lincoln Center in New York. The award was conferred by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for leadership in the field of sanitation through the Swatch Bharat Abhiyan. Prime Minister Modi received the award from Bill Gates and thanked them for recognizing India's strive in cleanliness. The Prime Minister also dedicated the award to 120 crore Indians for making the Swatch Bharat Abhiyan a massive success. The Global Goalkeeper Award is conferred to a political leader for his or her commitment to global goals through impactful work in a country or globally. Here are the highlights of what the Prime Minister said in his acceptance speech.
इस मिशन ने अगर सबसे ज्यादा लाभ किसी को पहुंचाया है तो वो देश के गरीब को, देश की महिलाओं को, जो साधन संपन्न है उनके लिए घरों में 2-2, 3-3 शौचालय बनवाना भी बहुत साधारण बात है। लेकिन शौचालय न होने का मतलब क्या होता था, इसे वो भली भांति जानता था जो इस सुविधा से वंचित था। खासकर महिलाओं को, बेटियों, बहनों के लिए तो शौचालय न होना उनके जीवन की सबसे बड़ी मुश्किलों में से एक था। मैं ये सम्मान उन भारतीयों को समर्पित करता हूं जिन्होंने स्वच्छ भारत मिशन को एक जन आंदोलन में बदला, जिन्होंने स्वच्छता को अपनी दैनिक जिंदगी में सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता देनी शुरू की।
Gaurav Sawant is joining us live from New York for more details on this story. Gaurav, good morning, or rather good evening to you in New York. You know, it's been a very, very busy day at the United Nations for India. A lot of diplomatic, strong messages being sent across by India. And really the highlight of the day is this award that's also been conferred to Prime Minister Modi now.
It's a day of major achievements for India, and the icing on the cake is the Bill and Melinda Gates Global Goalkeeper Award for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And this is for a mass movement that Prime Minister Narendra Modi led from the 2nd of October 2014, when he said that every house in this country should have a toilet, especially for women, especially for girls, so that girls don't leave education. Toilets are essential, and he said this from the ramparts of the Red Fort. So from 38% coverage of toilets in India, it's now come to 98%, and over 9 crore toilets were built. This became a people's movement. It wasn't just a central government-led initiative, and the Prime Minister gave details how states came forward to take part in this, how there was competition between states to ensure more and more toilets were built as part of Swatch Bharat Abhiyan, or Clean India initiative. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation also mentioned how 500 million people were helped with the construction of these toilets. And this is a huge movement, a mass movement for improving hygiene and sanitation in a country like India. And lessons from here are there for other countries to learn. So this is indeed a major achievement for India, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi received this award on behalf of the country.
And it's when these kind of awards are conferred that we really understand and come to realize the scale of the Swachh Bharat mission as well as other projects. Gaurav, do stay with us. You know, this happened about an hour back. Before that, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Gandhi Solar Park at the UN headquarters in New York in an event to commemorate the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. India has built a 50-kilowatt solar panel on the roof of the United Nations, symbolizing India's greater commitment to fight climate change. Several world leaders were present along with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, standing shoulder to shoulder with him. This included the South Korean President Moon Jae-in, the Prime Minister of Singapore Lee Hsien Loong, you got the Prime Minister of Bangladesh Sheikh Hasina, the Jamaican Prime Minister as well as New Zealand Prime Minister, along with the United Nations General Secretary Antonio Guterres. They were all present at the event. The leaders also launched a UN postage stamp of Gandhi. Prime Minister Modi is also scheduled to inaugurate a Gandhi Peace Garden at the State University of New York campus, where 150 trees have been planted in honor of Mahatma.
साथियों, सिद्धांतों के लिए इसी प्रतिबद्धता ने गांधी जी का ध्यान ऐसी 7 विकृतियों की तरफ खींचा जिनके प्रति सभी को जागरूक रहना चाहिए। और उनकी ये 7 बातें आज भी रिलेवेंट हैं, आने वाले कल भी रिलेवेंट रहने वाली है। उन 7 बातें हैं: वेल्थ विदाउट वर्क, प्लेजर विदाउट कॉन्शियंस, नॉलेज विदाउट कैरेक्टर, बिजनेस विदाउट एथिक्स, साइंस without humanity, religion without sacrifice, politics without principle। चाहे क्लाइमेट चेंज हो या फिर आतंकवाद, भ्रष्टाचार हो या फिर स्वार्थपरक सामाजिक जीवन, गांधी जी के ये सिद्धांत हमें मानवता की रक्षा करने के लिए मार्गदर्शक की तरह काम करते हैं।
It was India's show of strength at the United Nations here in New York. First, that all-important bilateral meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the US President Donald Trump. And then a day of packed meetings culminating in 150th birth anniversary celebrations of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke of the importance of Mahatma Gandhi in today's day and age, the relevance of his teachings. And the Prime Minister wasn't alone. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres was with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as were several heads of state and government, including Bangladesh, New Zealand, South Korea, Singapore, Jamaica. All of them spoke of the relevance of Mahatma Gandhi's teachings in today's day and age. They also spoke of their close association with India. Contrast this with Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan. He was rather isolated and dejected. In fact, at a press conference, he admitted he was a little disappointed because he was getting absolutely no support whatsoever from any of the world leaders on his rant in Jammu and Kashmir. Perhaps Mahatma Gandhi's lessons of truth and non-violence equally applicable for Pakistan and its leadership. With cameraman Kripal Singh and Nishant Chaturvedi, Gaurav Sawant at the UN headquarters in New York for India Today.
So as Gaurav just reported, this also sends across a big diplomatic message. The world leaders standing along with Prime Minister Modi. Here's a look at what world leaders had to say at the event commemorating Gandhi.
Gandhi's ideas had influence far beyond India's shores. His philosophy of non-violent resistance distinguished India from other independence movements of that era. He championed non-violence to the core of his being. Even more remarkably, he could persuade his countrymen to desist from violence, even when they had been persecuted and severely provoked. As he said, an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind.
Gandhiji, a true patriot, a statesman and a saint, dedicated his life for humankind. He was a beacon of hope, a light in darkness and a savior in despair.
As political leaders, there is much that we can learn from Gandhi as we search for common ground to address the world's pressing problems. For me, there are 3 aspects of Gandhi's message that carry particular weight: tolerance, equality, and the sanctity of non-violence and peace.
Taking this once again across to Gaurav Sawant, who's joining us live from New York. Gaurav, this was such a fitting tribute to Mahatma Gandhi, but there was also a larger diplomatic message that was sent across. Those telling visuals of so many world leaders sharing the stage with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, standing shoulder to shoulder with him.
Oh, absolutely. This is India's deft diplomacy on display here at New York. So from the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to Prime Minister of New Zealand, Bangladesh, the President of Jamaica, Prime Minister of Singapore, President of several other countries including Korea, they were all standing shoulder to shoulder with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, not only talking about the relevance of the teachings of the Mahatma 150 years after he was born, but also talking about their close association with India. This shows India's strength, India's diplomatic strength, India's economic strength and India's socio-cultural strength, that the world links up with India very effectively. Just contrast this with Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan. While he desperately tried to raise the issue of Kashmir at multiple platforms with multiple leaders, he actually got no traction anywhere whatsoever. He's lied through his teeth. He's talked about this alleged genocide and so on, but he's getting absolutely no response, so much so that at Pakistan's press conference at UN today, Imran Khan he admitted that he was disappointed that he was getting absolutely no response. And the reason when we speak to diplomats here is that they see the transparency with which India is dealing with the situation on Jammu and Kashmir. There's also deft diplomacy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is engaging with his counterparts. You have External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, Minister of State, Foreign Secretary, other diplomats. India is on a diplomatic offensive where the world is seeing the truth about Jammu and Kashmir against Pakistan's false propaganda. Also, the fact that Pakistan remains a state sponsor of terror is a cause for concern for everyone.
Absolutely. Gaurav, as you mentioned, there was also that admission that came in from Imran Khan. And here's what he said. Now, Pakistan, in fact, Pakistan's Kashmir plan has failed at every single platform. You've got Imran Khan finally admitting that no country was willing to question India on Kashmir. The admission of failure on the Kashmir rhetoric that Pakistan has been peddling came after Imran Khan failed to get any assurance from Trump on mediation on Kashmir. Imran Khan told Pakistan journalists that he was very disappointed by the fact that he was unable to muster any support for his Kashmir cause. This comes even as Imran's agenda against the Modi government also failed. His anti-Modi rant was snubbed as every world leader stood with Prime Minister Modi during that tribute to Mahatma Gandhi at the United Nations.
To be absolutely frank, I am a bit disappointed by international community. I'm disappointed first because, if 8 million Europeans were put under siege like this for 50 days, or Jews were put under siege, or Americans were put on siege, well, forget Americans, even 8 Americans were put under siege, but I'm talking about any other. I mean, would the reaction have been the same?
Gaurav, that is an admission from Imran Khan, and essentially the Pakistan Prime Minister tried very hard to push the Kashmir narrative in every single platform. He's failed in every single international platform as well. So it's interesting that now finally he's decided to come out and admit the truth.
It is very disappointing for him because he's been asked this question by his own media, not just here in New York, but even domestically in Pakistan. For 70 years, they raised the Kashmir rant, but Prime Minister Narendra Modi, with the abrogation of sections of Article 370, integrated Jammu and Kashmir, and Pakistan can actually do nothing about it. Imran Khan, in fact, at that press conference even said war is not an option, but staying quiet is also not an option for Pakistan. So they will continue to rant, but the truth is with India. What is Prime Minister Narendra Modi telling his counterparts? In his interaction with Donald Trump also, he made one thing very clear. Abrogation of Article 370 was for gender justice, so that women in Jammu and Kashmir get equal rights. It was also to ensure that cutting across castes and creed and sects and sex, everyone has equal rights in Jammu and Kashmir, which wasn't incidentally the case earlier. And India is giving out those details. India has also exposed Pakistan's state-sponsored terror in Jammu and Kashmir. Not only that, when Pakistan, and remember, Imran Khan is so frustrated at this point of time that on a virtual bent knee, he's telling Donald Trump, at least get India to talk to me. Let dialogue begin with India. But India is saying that for resumption of dialogue, Pakistan needs to take concrete action against India-centric terror. Every regime in Pakistan wants to start afresh with India without addressing previous cases on terror, but that is not the case that is acceptable to India anymore. Pakistan needs to take concrete action against India-centric terror for resumption of dialogue. India is not shying away from dialogue. India is not against dialogue with Pakistan, but that dialogue needs to be in a terror-free environment, and when action has been taken against terrorists like Hafiz Mohammed Saeed, Masood Azhar, and entities like Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba.
Absolutely. And this was reiterated by the MEA just a few days back as well, when Imran tried to create that narrative that India is not willing to have any dialogue. Gaurav, stay with us. Let's also recap to the highlights of the bilateral that took place between US President Donald Trump and India. You, of course, had him once again backing India and the Modi government on its war against radical Islamic terror. After holding a bilateral meet with Prime Minister Modi at New York, the US President, in response to a question, said that Modi's message to Pakistan on terror is loud and clear. He said that the Prime Minister is dealing with terror in a great way and that Modi will take care of it. On trade, Donald Trump said that the talks with India are underway and that a trade deal will be signed soon. Also, in response to a question on Kashmir, the American president once again pressed for bilateral talks between India and Pakistan, saying he hopes that both Prime Minister Modi and Imran Khan will sort out something.
Well, I mean, the message is not for me to give, it's for Prime Minister Modi to give, and I think he gave that loud and clear on the other day when we were together. He gave a pretty loud message, and I'm sure he'll be able to handle that situation. Yes, well, I had a very good meeting with Prime Minister Khan. It was a long meeting, and we discussed a lot, and I think he'd like to see something happen that would be very fruitful, very peaceful. And I think that will happen ultimately. I really believe that these two great gentlemen will get together and work something. I also, you mentioned Pakistan, but Iran would have to be at the top of the list, because if you look at terrorist states, that's been the number one for a long time. But I really believe that Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Khan, they get along, they will get along when they get to know each other, and I think a lot of good things will come from that meeting.
And here's what Prime Minister Modi also had to say about the bilateral with US President Trump.
भारत, अमेरिका बहुत ही घनिष्ठ मित्र हैं और मूल्यों के आधार पर हमारी मित्रता हमेशा आगे बढ़ती चली जा रही है। जहां तक ट्रेड का सवाल है, मुझे खुशी है कि मैं जब परसों ह्यूस्टन में था तो हमारे पेट्रोनेट ने वहां पर $2.5 बिलियन के इन्वेस्टमेंट के साथ एनर्जी सेक्टर में इन्वेस्टमेंट का एमओयू किया है, और उसका परिणाम ये होगा कि आने वाले कुछ दशक में करीब $60 बिलियन का ट्रेड और करीब 50,000 लोगों के लिए जॉब। तो अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा इनिशिएटिव भारत ने लिया है। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप मेरे तो मित्र है ही है, लेकिन भारत के बहुत एक अच्छे मित्र के रूप में आज भारत और अमेरिका बहुत तेजी से आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, और मैं राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप का फिर से एक बार धन्यवाद करता हूं।
Well, another headline from the Modi-Trump bilateral was the bonhomie, which is once again at full display. Now, you had Donald Trump, in a series of compliments for Prime Minister Modi, referred to him as a rock star like Elvis Presley and termed him the father of India. Donald Trump also praised the chemistry between him and Modi as great.
There's a lot of dissension, a lot of fighting, and he brought it all together. Well, my personal chemistry is as good as it can get. I have great respect, I have great admiration, and I really like him. That's another thing. And he's a great gentleman and a great leader. And I remember India before, now not intimately, but I remember India before, and it was very torn. There was a lot of dissension, a lot of fighting, and he brought it all together. like a father would bring it together. And maybe he's the father of India. We'll call him the father of India. I think that's not so bad. But he brought things together, and you don't hear that anymore. So I think he's done a fantastic job. And I think that what the event showed is how much I like the country of India and how much I like your Prime Minister. There was tremendous spirit in that room, too. And they love this gentleman to my right. They really do. Those people went crazy. That was like Elvis. That was like an American. He's like an American version of Elvis. It's like we brought in the middle of an all-American deal. Elvis Presley came back. You know, he was. That was quite something. They love your Prime Minister. It's a great thing.
मैं राष्ट्रपति ट्रम्प का बहुत आभारी हूँ कि ह्यूस्टन स्वयं समय निकाल करके आए, काफी समय दिया और अमेरिका में रहने वाले भारतीयों के लिए ये बहुत ही गर्व का अवसर था और मैं इसके लिए राष्ट्रपति ट्रम्प का हृदय से बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं।
Well, after the bilateral meeting between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi, both leaders also took questions from reporters. And when India Today's Gaurav Sawant asked a rather direct question to the US President on whether the United States has a definitive roadmap to defeat radical Islamic terror, Trump responded that the matter would be dealt with. And then Trump quipped and asked Prime Minister Modi, and I quote, "Where do you find such lovely reporters?" Take a look at that interaction.
Sir, is there a roadmap to deal with radical Islamic terror, sir?
It would be great if they could work out something on Kashmir. We all want to see that, I'm sure.
But isn't terror a bigger issue, sir? Pakistan state-sponsored terror. Is there a roadmap to deal with Pakistan
Well, you have
state-sponsored
great
terror?
reporters. I wish I had reporters like this. We're doing better than anybody I've ever heard. Where do you find these reporters? This is a great thing. No, look, you have a great Prime Minister. He'll solve the problem. I have